Dear students, this session is, as you can see, this session is planned to give you idea about the trial balance. So trial balance, you know, the third step of accounting process, starting or beginning with the journals, ledgers, and then the trial balance. So you see the trial balance, introduction of the trial balance. Before preparing the final account, it is necessary to test the accuracy of individual posting in the ledger. You know that we follow the double entry system, under which we make debit for every credit and we credit for every debit with the same amount. So to check whether the total of debit is equal to total of credit or not, we prepare the trial balance. Under the double entry bookkeeping system, two aspects, debit and credit of each transaction, must be recorded. An entry which is recorded on the debit side of one account is also recorded on the credit side of some other account. So you know that the debit should be equal to the credit, as we follow the double entry system, under which we make the debit for every credit with the same amount. Trial balance is a statement prepared to check the arithmetical accuracy of the bookkeeping entries up to the date stated at the head of the trial balance. Trial balance ensures that both the aspects of each transactions have been duly recorded. As I told you that we follow the double entry system for the purpose of accounting, under which we have to record both of the aspects of the transaction. It means one debit and one credit. So preparation of trial balance, it can be prepared with any of the two methods, balance method and total amount method. Objectives of preparing the trial balance, as I told you, that to check the arithmetical accuracy. It means for every debit we are making the credit, so the total of the debit should match the total of credit. Once when the total of the debit is not matching with the total of credit, we can locate the errors. And the third objective, the most important objective of the trial balance, that is to prepare the final account. Preparation of trial balance, as you saw, there are two methods, balance method and total amount method. You can follow any of the method to prepare the trial balance. Balance method, in this method, all the ledger accounts are first balanced. This is done immediately after posting of original entry into the ledger. The debit and credit sides of each ledger account is totaled. The balance are then recorded on the credit side or debit side of the trial balance. You all have already studied the ledger. You know how to prepare the ledger and how to bring the balances of the ledger accounts. You know that total of the debit and total of the credit is compared. You will find either the excess of debit over credit or either the excess of credit over debit. It gives you either the debit balance or credit balance. So this is the balance method. If the grand total of debit and credit balances tally, it means finally you will put the balances of all the ledger account either on the debit side or credit side, and finally you will match the total of debit with the credit. If the total of debit will match with the credit total of credit, it means the arithmetical accuracy. It means we have followed everything properly and the debit is matching with the total of credit. Trial balance is prepared on a loose sheet having three columns. The first column gives the name of account and the second and third column shows the amount of debit and credit balance. So you can see the format here, the first column particulars, then the two columns are there, one is the debit and one is the credit. In the debit column, we write the balances of the debit, and on the credit side, we write the credit balances of the ledger accounts. And the second method as the total amount method. In this method, the total on debit side of every ledger account is entered and under the debit column of the trial balance, and the total on the credit side of each ledger account is recorded under the credit column of the trial balance. A grand total of both debit and credit is then taken. In case the grand totals of both sides tally, it indicates arithmetical accuracy. So in the case of balance method, you saw the comparison is made between the total of debit and credit, and the balance is written either on debit and credit side. And in the total method, we take the total of debit and we write it on the debit side, and we take the total of the credit of the particular account and we write it in the trial balance on the credit side. In this way, the total of every account's debit is put on the debit side, and total of all the credits of all the accounts is put on the credit side. So this is the total method, and if the total of debit and credit matches, that indicates the arithmetical accuracy. It means for every debit we have made the credit. So let's have one revision. As I told you, this particular session is regarding the trial balance. Trial balance, it means we follow the accounting procedure under which we start with the journal, then ledger, then the trial balance, and finally the final account. So after journal ledger, the trial balance is prepared to know the arithmetical accuracy, to check the arithmetical accuracy. As we know that for every debit there is the equal credit. So in the trial balance, we put the balances of all the debit balances on the debit side and all the credit balances on the credit side. And finally, if the debit and credit matches, we get the, we can say that we have followed everything properly. Preparation of trial balance, balance method and total method. Objectives of trial balance, the first, that is to check the arithmetical accuracy. It means the total of debit should equal to be the total of credit. To help in locating errors, suppose the total of debit is not matching with the total of credit, it means there are some errors. And finally, with the help of trial balance, we prepare the final account. So in the next video, I will share that how to prepare the final account. Balance method, as I told you, that we take out the balances of each ledger accounts and we put on the either on the debit side or credit side. It depends that what the balance is. Either you are getting the debit balance. When you are getting the debit balance, you will put it on the debit side, and if you get the credit balance, you will put it on the credit side. And the total amount method, here you do not calculate the balances, but finally you put the total of debit on the debit side and total of credit on the credit side. And in the trial balance, if the total of debit matches with the total of credit, it means we have followed everything properly. So this is all about the trial balance, and in the next video I will share that how to prepare the final account.